Welcome to Homecoming at Allen University. I'm President Ernest McNealey, and of course, you are welcome to your homecoming, notwithstanding the pandemic and all that is associated with it. Home is still where the heart is. We are pleased to report to you that the state of the university is sound, both academically and financially. Obviously, the pandemic is the elephant in the room, so let me address that issue with you first. Because of the fear, some of it justified and some not, of the pandemic, we did have a downturn in enrollment. We did not reach the target that we had anticipated. So our head count of 710 students is about 100 students less than we had last fall, and probably some 300 students less than we had predicted prior to the onset of the pandemic. On the positive side, we continue to see diversity in our enrollment. 33 states are represented in our current student body, and 3 countries outside of the U.S. are represented in the student body as well. We started the semester with a plan titled Returning to a Healthy Environment. It was the work of 32 individuals who were divided into groups who did investigations of all sorts, looked at all of the available information, and as a result of that plan, we were able to begin the fall semester, did the appropriate mitigation and isolation and quarantining where necessary. Obviously, like all universities, we did experience a number of cases of COVID, and as a result of that, we brought Coppin Hall back online. It was used for isolating students and quarantining students. We're happy that notwithstanding these few cases, these students were able to continue with their academic work and their semester as one would have anticipated or hoped. So I'm going to speak about a couple of things with you today. I'm going to talk about some academic matters, some student affairs matters, some advancement matters, a few athletic matters, and then I'll talk about the vision thing, some of the hopes and aspirations about where we're going. First, our faculty continues to be quite strong. 74% of the tenure track faculty hold terminal degrees in their disciplines. And if one were to look at all of the persons providing instructional services, the percentage of terminal degrees goes to 83%. What is particularly noteworthy about the faculty at Allen is their prowess in using instructional technology. We were able to move quite easily to online instruction at the onset of the pandemic, and the faculty performed so well that we had the largest summer enrollment in the history of the institution, a fully online summer session where the percentage of enrollment increased by some 80%. In addition, 75% of the students who completed the spring semester returned for the fall. And certainly this is evidence of an outstanding faculty committed to students and very capable at doing the work that they do. Prior to the onset of the pandemic, students and faculty alike were busily delivering papers and participating in the professional activities that one would expect and one would hope, and certainly we anticipate returning to that level of activity in the future. On the student affairs side, we have had almost continuous universal testing. And I think probably more than anything else, that has allowed our semester to move along smoothly and to demonstrate how serious we were about having a truly healthy environment. And all the persons in student affairs in particular deserve our thanks for the work that they've done to keep things moving along as it has. On the academic side as well, that I wanted to mention in particular, was that we have a number of delayed programs and new programs that we intend to still get underway in the fall. In particular, we talked about teacher education over the past year. We garnered all of the necessary approvals, but because of the pandemic, we decided to delay the launch of that program until the fall. Similarly, our program in biochemistry was delayed, and we have programs that are coming that will be submitted to the Southern Association for Colleges and Schools for approval. One of the important activities that we have underway is the growth and expansion of the Dickerson Green Theological Seminary. Not only are we actively pursuing membership in the Association of Theological Schools, but we're also preparing for full-fledged accreditation and the launch of a doctoral program from the seminary. Certainly, oftentimes we forget that the seminary students are students too, but they are active in every regard of our life here on the campus. So now for some financial matters. So let me just say that the pandemic has had a significant impact. I suspect that if we were to total the spending for pandemic-related matters, it would top some $1.2 million. In a similar vein, I would anticipate that our loss of anticipated revenue probably reached as much as $2.5 million. That notwithstanding, we had very good audit results. There were no findings. The opinion was unmodified. An excellent audit, probably one of the very best we've had. In particular, there was not a single finding in the compliance audit. As a result of the audit, we increased our net assets by some $3 million. Our financial responsibility index was at 2.8. We did have to downsize our budget planning for the current fiscal year. We are now projecting a budget at roughly $22 million and expenses of $21 million, which would include payment of all of our debt services as well. As you are aware, there were any number of activities from Washington under the CARES Act. The university was successful in applying for and receiving the payroll protection program loan scheduled for forgiveness. As a result of that, we have not downsized at all. All personnel working at the university prior to the pandemic continue to have their jobs. We also received the Emergency Higher Education Act that allowed us to send checks to students in the spring, and we also received the HBCU CARES Act funding. All of those programs are very important as we look to the future. One of the areas where we made the most significant investments was in technology and housing. Virtually all the spaces, including residence halls, where students have their being on a daily basis, were refurbished and painted with antimicrobial paint. We put in place facial recognition equipment that also monitors temperature. We purchased contact tracing software. We purchased tens of thousands of masks and several thousand gloves and facial screens, and a considerable investment in that regard. We upgraded the technology in the residence halls. Now there are access points that are faster, and there are more of them. There are cameras throughout the halls in places where they were not previously. We have upgraded our university server such that now the university can be its own cloud source, and we'll have more to share with you about that in the future. On the advancement front, we are continuing to build that unit. We have a new marketing and communications professional. We have hired a new person in sponsored programs in Title III, and we're starting to see good results from those investments. Not only do we have a higher profile with regards to social media, but we're building stronger relationships with traditional media. And of course, many of the gifts that we have garnered, you have read about or heard about in the media. Some you may not have, but of course, there was the $900,000 gift from Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina, $100,000 from the Levitt Family Foundation from Atlanta, $50,000 from the Educational Advancement Foundation of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, as well as $15,000 from the Palmetto Citizens Federal. Of course, there are other gifts that are pending, and those announcements should be forthcoming very shortly. You'll also notice that there is a new website. It was recently launched, and we are going through the normal phase of review and corrections. So if you've not been to the website, we urge you to go take a look, and if you have some concerns, certainly we would be happy to receive them from you. We also have underway a process where we're trying to orderly license the use of university logos and other marks. And of course, we have a number of new marks that we're in the process of having trademarked. And so as we go forward, we would anticipate a broad range of materials that would bear the university's different marks, and that these areas would be revenue producing. You've heard something about AU Productions. AU Productions in its current iteration is a print shop, and very soon there will be a wide array of paraphernalia of all sorts that will be available through AU Productions, as well as other kinds of materials that will grow from that enterprise. It is one of our primary vehicles for increasing the amount and number of sources of revenue beyond students. So now let me turn to athletics. As you might imagine, because we didn't have contracts that amounted to millions of dollars, we decided not to have any athletic competition during this fall. And we had hoped that this would not have been so. We would have had a very sizable as well as excellent marching band. We anticipated that we would have marched at least 100. And of course, our football team would have been more competitive. We brought in some real linemen who would look the part. And so unfortunately, the pandemic took that opportunity away from us, but we look forward to returning some of our athletic teams to play in the spring semester. No final determination has been made, but announcements will be forthcoming. We intend to grow at Allen, not only in terms of the new programs that we have underway, but we intend to bring new athletic teams and new levels of degree programs, and to grow as we could and should. And we welcome your participation, we welcome your investments, and we're happy to have you with us for the start of homecoming in the age of COVID. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you.